Welcome everybody to South Africa. It's a pleasure to be back here for the first time since 1993. It's the Formula One Vodacom South African Grand Prix of 2022, round 4 in the Fantasy Formula One World Championship here at Midrand in South Africa. We are here at Kyalami, the international circuit, and here is the track map. 16 corners, 4.529 kilometers, 2.814 miles. And I have to tell you, it's going to test the drivers, even the very best. Certainly with the sharp undulations, 42 meter of elevation, and certainly slow, a mixture of fast-paced corners as well, is certainly going to provide a test. Back in 1993, the last ever race, or certainly the last race we held here in Formula One, Prost v Schumacher, that was certainly on the cards. Prost on top on that occasion. Of course, Senna and Schumacher would come together as well and collide here back in 93 as well. Certainly a roller coaster ride, very much like the circuit itself in that race back in 93. Back in 1982, Keke Rosberg and Antonio de Cesare came together as well in this particular race. What a moment indeed, but certainly we're going to be making greater moments here in the Fantasy World Championship too. As we now take a look over the Sky cameras, let's give you the starting grid. At the back, it's Mick Schumacher, no time set, neither for Lance Stroll either, P19. Nicholas Latifi in 18th with Alex Albon in 17th. P16, well, that goes to Guan Yu Zhou. Alongside him, it's Kevin Magnussen in 15th place. In P14, well, that goes to Daniel Ricciardo. The Honey Badger sits alongside a man from Finland, Valtteri Bottas in 13th place. Yuki Tsunoda in 12th alongside Esteban Ocon. The Frenchman sits in 11th place. In 10th, it is Carlos Sainz, last season's Fantasy World Championship champion, alongside Sebastian Vettel, who lines up in 9th. Lando Norris alongside fellow Brit Lewis Hamilton. They are 8th and 7th, with P6 going to Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman, alongside George Russell, also in the Mercedes, in 5th. 4th place, that goes to Fernando Alonso. El Plan was certainly on form in qualifying alongside Sergio Perez. In 3rd place, Max Verstappen on the front row alongside the pole man Charles Leclerc, the Monegasque, in P1.
Before we get into this race, I would like to thank NordVPN for sponsoring this video. NordVPN is the best tool to use to browse the internet and use your favorite apps securely. With over 5,800 servers across 59 countries, there is always a fast and secure connection for you to use at your own convenience. For example, you might be someone like me who wants to watch some of the newest Sky Sports interviews after each F1 session. But for many of us outside the UK, it's just not possible to watch these videos. Unless you're using NordVPN, which will allow you to easily pick up a connection across multiple locations from the UK. And just like that, you can now start watching the newest Sky Sports videos with no issue. And that's only one of the many features that NordVPN has to offer. Another one being the new launch of the threat protection feature, which offers even more comprehensive security against cyber threats in order for you to enjoy a cleaner and safer internet experience. And this is all available through NordVPN. Make sure you get this exclusive deal at nordvpn.com/Mitsos and use the coupon code Mitsos at checkout. Thank you again, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video, and I hope you'll enjoy the race.
And that's 3 lights, 4 lights, and the 5th light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it's go, 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 go. Charles Leclerc got away, but so did Max Verstappen. Equilateral between the pair as they now make their way through the kink, down through towards turn 2 at Crowthorne. It is still side by side between them. Alonso in behind as well, trying to garner some sort of advantage over George Russell. But Verstappen leads the Grand Prix here in South Africa. What a way to get started as they ran Barbecue Bend in turn 5 and now tackle the straight as they mark their way down towards turn 6 at Sunset. Further back, you can see Lando Norris. He is also trying to fight against the Aston Martins that are further up as well. Lewis Hamilton has already broken free. Esteban Ocon coming into the fight, as well as Carlos Sainz too, as they now make their way through this next left-hander. Still on top though, and this time Esteban Ocon in 9th place. He beats Lando Norris to the punch for P9. Valtteri Bottas also losing out to Carlos Sainz as well. Ricciardo as well going ahead of him. As Charles Leclerc now attacking Max Verstappen. Side by side, oh, a little twitch to the rear and very nearly losing the car. Leclerc nearly in jeopardy. Here comes El Plan. Fernando Alonso looking for the P2 spot as they now make their way through. Fernando sends it down the inside. Is it Alonso time? Not this time. It's Charles Leclerc who holds on to 2nd place. Verstappen though, he still leads. And now we're watching the two McLarens coming together. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo, who hasn't had the easiest of seasons, now battling against teammate Lando Norris. Very nice move, though, from Daniel Ricciardo up into 11th place. And that's certainly where he'll want to be, though Lando Norris is not going to take that line down. You have to wonder whether there is an issue with that McLaren. He certainly has fallen down the order. Well, the race beginning to hot up here, and certainly no less the same at this point in time. Sergio Perez trying to gain as we now take a look on board here with Sergio Perez coming down in towards the next left at Crowthorne at turn 2. Rides along the curb on the inside. That's enough to unsettle the car, and it has done. It's allowed Russell to hold on to his 4th place, though Perez, finding it down the inside now as they come through Barbecue Bend at turn 5. And Perez now up into 4th place and now registers first in terms of the Drivers' Championship. We rejoin the battle for the lead, and Leclerc has managed to really rein in that time gap between him and Max Verstappen. Goes looking now in towards the next left, side by side between that of the Red Bull and the Ferrari. Leclerc with the favourable line, flicks out the rear again. I tell you what, we saw this earlier on at the start of the race. Leclerc getting very unsettled here at Kyalami, but attacking, peppering the inside now of Max Verstappen's Red Bull. Goes hunting down the inside again, the monogas, but the Dutchman, far too much there for Charles Leclerc as they make their way through this next right. Now here in lap 9 of 68, coming down the home straight, Verstappen still leads, but Charles Leclerc in behind as he now looks to weave, looks to try and find an opening, heading down in towards Crowthorne once again, and Charles Leclerc also right at the curb, contact there with Max Verstappen. Now, is there damage to the car? That's the big question. Leclerc's now dropped back quite considerably, but you have to wonder whether Max Verstappen sustained something. Lando Norris again under a lot of pressure, this time from the Finn driver, the furiously fast Finn, Valtteri Bottas, of course, in Alfa Romeo this season. Outside line this time on Lando Norris, heading around now this next left through Clubhouse Corner at turn 7, and Bottas with a nose in front, and that'll surely serve him well, leading through the S's at turns 8 and 9. He's on top in a flick in the rear. Now in lap 17, Charles Leclerc still out and about, and you can just see him behind Charles Leclerc now, looking to try and attack now the man in front as he makes their way through. These two have certainly been dueling it out ferociously since the start of the race, and despite Leclerc's efforts to knock on the door, he is still unable to find a way through. Ferrari not having the easiest of runs today, certainly Verstappen marshalling Leclerc very well indeed, but Carlos Sainz, who has been stuck in P10 since near enough the start of the race, he's got Daniel Ricciardo in behind, and there's a battle going on in between that of Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon. Ocon very nearly losing the Alpine altogether there for that brief moment, as now Sainz goes hunting down the inside. What a beautiful move from the Spaniard, our current Fantasy World Champion. Carlos Sainz went looking round the outside there of Esteban Ocon, and still there side by side. Sainz now moving through. P9 goes to the Spaniard as we now look at the onboard as he now makes his way down the straight. It is going to be Carlos Sainz making his way through now on Sebastian Vettel. The man who used to drive for Ferrari watches on as the Scuderia usurps him, heading around turn 1. Sensational here in this lap 21 of 68. And now we got Max Verstappen once again being pressurised by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's been knocking all race long, and once again still trying to force his way through. A touch in the rear, Verstappen's off the track, and oh, here comes Alpine. Fernando Alonso up into 2nd place. Perez now catching up with his teammate very nearly. Both Red Bulls coming together.
Unbelievable. What an unbelievable wanker. Why does he stay in front? Kid.
There you have it, Max Verstappen less than impressed with that move from Charles Leclerc. Here's the instant replay, and he just tried to, I'm not sure whether he was trying to force a gap. This has been the story all race long. Leclerc was trying to find a way through, and no surprise, it's a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision to Charles Leclerc. What a moment. Leclerc in now for his pit stop, and he's got to serve that penalty. New hard tyres being fitted to the Scuderia Ferrari. Now the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton with Carlos Sainz in behind. See what Sainz has really picked up a second win ever since dispatching Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon earlier on. He is now knocking on the 7 times world champion. Lewis Hamilton can only watch. The Ferrari goes streaking through down the inside as they make their way through, and it is going to be Carlos Sainz. Hamilton saying the tyres are gone. Tyres are gone, Bono, he says. Well, now we've certainly got a plethora of cars making their way through Esteban Ocon with Daniel Ricciardo in behind. Oh, a touch in the rear, and Ocon's round. Ricciardo tapped him in the rear.
Honestly, what the this guy doing?
a moment, and a less than impressed Esteban Ocon now beached up onto the side of the track. Here's the replay. Daniel Ricciardo.
I don't know if I got damage.
Safety car. Is the front wing okay?
Yeah, it's the front. We need to check the front wing. I can't see it.
And now once again we've got Fernando Alonso, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race. He's leading this Grand Prix, but Max Verstappen in behind is also hunting as well. Carlos Sainz with a chance after Pierre Gasly had a very untidy exit, and now Sainz pushing himself up into 6th place, and he'll also chase after George Russell as well. There you can see further down Sebastian Vettel under pressure from Guan Yu Zhou, who's now looking for it, heading around this next left. He is currently in P9. He wants to hold on to P9, unless Vettel says something different, to skip over the curbs as well as they round it, but it is Guan Yu Zhou who moves up to 9th. Now here in lap 39, and I have to tell you, it looks ominous right now. Max Verstappen trying to room up here on Fernando Alonso in towards turn 2 at Crowthorne. They'll try and go side by side. Contact! Max Verstappen very nearly losing the car altogether, but saves it well. Charles Leclerc pounces on the stricken Red Bull as now smoke billows from the tyres. Huge moments in this race, to say the least. Fernando Alonso, though, leading by half a second, though the gap is cascading down as the Monegasque goes looking for that race lead. Charles Leclerc side by side with Alonso. Contact again around turn 2 as they make their way through. Alonso holding on to P1. Max Verstappen once again involved in the top end of things. And now the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, who's trying to gain on Pierre Gasly. You just see the AlphaTauri going very slowly, the cork in the bottle almost. And Gasly, what can he do to try and hold back the champ? Running off the track now, Lewis Hamilton. And also in behind, he's going to be wary of Guan Yu Zhou, who has also got Sebastian Vettel coming up to join him as well. So here we go, Vettel and Hamilton coming together now. Green 5 is now up into 9th place. Vettel now in the points in the top 10. Charles Leclerc looking to attack Fernando Alonso here in lap 55 of 68, and now the Monegasque again tackles the inside line as they break through the hairpin bend, and again very untidy.
Just keep up the tyre management for the moment, Max. Can start to see some damage perhaps to Leclerc's front right tyre. Keep pushing him in sector 1.
And now George Russell trying to gain on Sergio Perez. This is the battle for 4th place. And the young Brit, who now looks to go ahead in towards turn 2 at Crowthorne, trying to move himself up into 4th. He's got a nose in front. The Mercedes now up into the top 4. Perez relegated to P5.
Good job.
A display of appreciation then from the Mercedes pit wall. They are so pleased with Russell's progress here in this race.
So this gap is 0.8.
We're on board with Max Verstappen, and Christian Horner just allowing Verstappen knowledge as to the gap that is separating him and Charles Leclerc right now. Alonso still in front, has actually managed to pull away here from Charles Leclerc, as now we're seeing Max Verstappen down the inside for 2nd place, side by side again between these two, who were earlier on battling for the lead, but now Verstappen has the upper hand on Charles Leclerc, heading down this straight now, leading down towards turn 2 after turn 1 at the kink, and the Red Bull now into 2nd place. And Fernando Alonso, who has certainly been the cleanest, the contentest, and certainly the fastest man on the track until Lewis Hamilton took the fastest lap off him. He won't care though. Fernando Alonso has won the South African Grand Prix. Sensational work, certainly from Alpine and the team here at Kyalami. What a sensational result, folks. There you have it, the confirmation. Fernando Alonso is your winner here for this race here in South Africa. Max Verstappen, after fighting with Charles Leclerc all race long, he got P2, P3 for Leclerc. George Russell in 4th with Sergio Perez finishing in 5th place. Carlos Sainz, after a dazzling display, moving his car up into 6th. Lewis Hamilton finished in 7th ahead of Pierre Gasly, who finished in 8th. Sebastian Vettel in 9th. Lando Norris in 10th place for McLaren. Fastest lap, that went to Lewis Hamilton, and Mercedes gives him an extra point after that display in lap 67. Guan Yu Zhou finished in 11th for Alfa Romeo, his teammate in behind him, Valtteri Bottas. Yuki Tsunoda finished in 13th with Kevin Magnussen in 14th place. Daniel Ricciardo finished in 15th with Lance Stroll in 16th. Mick Schumacher in 17th with Alex Albon in 18th. Nicholas Latifi in 19th with Esteban Ocon, last of the running cars. Sergio Perez is now confirmed as your championship leader. Carlos Sainz, the current world champion, in behind him on 41 points. A mere 4 points is all that separates the top two. Charles Leclerc, the other Ferrari, in third as well, only on 40 points too, so 5 points is all that separates him and the championship leader. Hope you all enjoyed that, folks. Please leave a like and also subscribe to the Mitsos YouTube channel. My name's been George Morgan. I'll see you again soon.